Okay, so let's talk about Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, okay? Right here, right now. So if you're one of the people that kind of really did hate Batman v Superman, I'm talking about you're one of the people that just constantly keep on bashing it, whatever it may be. You hate Martha, you hate all of that. Then congratulations, because this movie's not really going to change your mind, because more or less it's the exact same movie. Now granted, I liked the movie. You can check out my actual review in the link or whatever it may be, but I actually really did like the movie. Now let's get to this thing right now. How does the Ultimate Edition kind of improve with those 30 minutes or less, depending on your perspective? So here it is right now. Some things that we actually really did get to see. We get to see more details on certain types of stuff. More things to kind of explain. For one, the Jimmy stuff and like the Lois Lane thing. Now granted, Jimmy's still a wasted character. He's still biting the dust quicker than, you know, fucking an extra in like Star Trek. But the thing about it is that they at least try to give some background information on Jimmy. They show some CIA stuff. They show that he was undercover. They show all of that. So that's actually good to see. And in case you haven't actually noticed, there's going to be some spoilers in here. So he actually bites the dust, and they pretty much do that. And once they kind of figure that out, CIA kind of send in a drone to take out those people, whatever it may be. And then Superman comes in, because as you already know, he kind of saves Lois. Bam, he bashes the drone. That's kind of causes the uproar in kind of like Africa or the desert, whatever it was. But that's kind of explained just in there. Now, granted, some people probably wonder, well, what does the rated R thing do? The rated R thing does jack shit. Now, the thing about this thing is that I was kind of wondering what was the rated R thing was going to kind of do, and it really didn't do anything. I saw one F-bomb, and that's kind of it. I guess it was kind of increased violence, but honestly, I really didn't notice anything differently, and that's just my case just in general. Now, overall, some other things that we did kind of see was just that I like this seeing Clark Kent in this version. I'm not fucking joking. They increased Clark Kent. Now, granted, his performance for the most part is still fucking wooden. The bat is dead. That's still fucking wouldn't, right? We all kind of know that just in general. But what I did like seeing was that we get to see more Clark Kent investigating, actually being a reporter. Say what? We get to see more Daily Planet stuff. We get to see more interaction with him and Perry White. They kind of have a nice back and forth. Perry even calls him a fucking nerd at one point. That's actually fun to see. I know, not the best thing, bullying, but that's actually cool to see because you get to see more of Clark Kent doing Clark Kent stuff. Also, we get to see more of a distinct kind of like difference between Gotham and kind of like, you know, Metropolis. He's kind of like interviewing some of the people, like the in apartment buildings, whatever it may be. Gotham look more dirty, look more rugged. We also have easier transitions into Gotham because like in the first time around, just kind of like, boom, we're in Gotham. This time around, they kind of, you know, they settle you into it. They don't just throw you in, they sink you into it very well. Now, granted, there are a lot more details and a lot of things are explained better, but unfortunately, I feel like they explain so much on certain scenes, or at least certain parts, to the point where they do feel overly long, or there are some parts in a specific scene that feel like they really are just this deleted scenes, and they really needed to be just deleted. They really didn't feel like they needed to be here. Now, granted, I did like seeing there were some references to Watchmen, The End Is Nigh on like a Gotham Seaport thing. I liked seeing that. Like I said, it's more or less the same fucking movie. Now, granted, you're probably wondering, who is Jenna Malone? Who is she playing? Is she Batgirl? Is she Cat Grant? Who is she? Well, she's, hold on, I wrote this one down. She's Jeanette Gilborn, or Gilburn, whatever the fuck it is. Jeanette Gilburn. Who? I don't know. But apparently, I believe she's like runs for Star Labs, at least from what I looked it up. But yeah, she's not Batgirl, she's not Cat Grant, she's not any of that. So you don't really have to worry about any of that, really, just in general. Now, granted, like I said, if you still have the same problems with like Batman v Superman from the Lex stuff or whatever it may be, that's all there. This movie is a much more completed film, right? It's much more better to watch, just in general, even though it does get slow a little bit because it is still 3 hours long. So more or less, your perspective for a 3-hour film is still the same thing. But for me personally, it's a much more completed film, but it's still a very overflowing film, because I feel like there's still too much shit in here that really didn't need to be here. Jenna Malone character really didn't need to be here. There's a thing with like the prison guy that Batman like brands, and there's like a prison thing that kind of seemed like it was right out of Daredevil, whatever it may be. That's in here. But that still seemed like it didn't really need to be there. There's, like I said, there's a couple of things in here that felt like they were deleted scenes, and they were just added on just to begin with. Now, granted, I think Warner Brothers kind of fucked up, because I really do think that they had a much more better cut here than in the one that we kind of saw. Now, granted, I liked the first cut. But this one, I feel like it shows you a little bit more stuff to it. Now, granted, Batman's kind of like dreams or whatever, at least from my perspective. I don't think they really explained that much. There's still problems with it. It's kind of like a puzzle that has all their pieces finally together. Unfortunately, two of the pieces that they do have, even though it's all complete set, is still uneven in that playset. And I feel like there's two uneven parts, for the most part, inside of this very well put together puzzle. And that's kind of how I see Batman v Superman. Now, overall, like I said, there's not really much to really go into that much. That's kind of pretty much it. I'll look at some notes, but as far as I'm concerned, that's really kind of it. It really doesn't do much. But what I really did like, just in general, was that I did like seeing Clark Kent kind of talk with his mother, getting some guidance, getting some whatever, some advice. Because that's essentially what Clark Kent is. He's just a kid just looking for advice from his mom or his dad. So seeing the Jonathan Kent scene, and then seeing him actually interact with his mother and see more Martha stuff, no pun intended. You actually get to see a much more better character developed Clark Kent than in the previous versions, where he kind of felt like a supporting character. He feels a little bit more involved here, and that's what I really did like. By seeing him kind of investigate, you see the first interaction between Batman and Superman kind of built up. When he said the bat is dead, that's built up more because you get to see him kind of investigating and seeing his frustration kind of towards Batman, other than just kind of like popping in. But that's just me, just in general. Like, overall, like I said, I think this is actually a pretty good cut, and I think you can really go out and just watch it. Now, granted, it may not change your opinion, but I think you can appreciate Zack Snyder's kind of ambition when it comes to like all these ideas, because he had a lot of shit to kind of put in here. Some of it worked, seeing the full edition, but it's not completely well done. It's a much more better film than, what was it, like 29% for Rotten Tomatoes? Don't listen to these assholes, though. Don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes. But if I had to put a score now, maybe a 75%, I say, which is a big boost. But that's just my thought. That's my review of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I say it's a much more better complete film, which still has a couple of overflowing moments to it. But overall, it's a much more better film. As I said, you can pick it up. You can probably like it, but then you might not. It's up to you. That's just my opinion. And if you really want to help me out, if I actually please you with this review and very straight and narrow, then you can actually subscribe, because that could be very awesome. That can help me out a lot. That's it. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.